Hey guys, so welcome back. So I've got some changes that I want to announce. I've decided to change the name of the podcast. So it was the Peaceful Plate podcast, but I've decided that I'm going to relaunch it as the Nourished Woman podcast. And the reason for that is because the Nourished Woman to me is this ideal of a woman who has not perfect, but a really solid foundation of a relationship with food. She honours her food choices, she's respectful and accepting of her body, and that bleeds into a lot of the topics that I speak about on this podcast. So I really wanted to root it in being more than just about food, but being about the way that we talk to ourselves, the way that we treat ourselves, our relationship with ourselves, as well as our relationship with food and our relationship with our body. My strong belief is that our relationship with food and our relationship with our body is literally like a mirror for the relationship with ourselves. And when we improve the relationship with ourselves, our relationship with food improves, our relationship with our body improves, and we can finally start to achieve our goals because we're actually tending to the most important relationship. So it's now going to be called the Nourished Woman podcast. So 3 things I'm going to speak to you about today. Firstly, one of my family members decided that they were going to use the injection, and I want to share that with you. I want to speak about what my thoughts are about that and how I have seen it map out and am seeing it map out on a wider scale. I want to speak to you about the way that we start to keep our promises with ourselves and my experience of when I was at a time in my life when I definitely didn't keep my promises to myself. And then the last thing I want to speak about is superfoods, and do they really exist, and are there any, and if so, what the hell are they? Let's dive right in. So the first thing, somebody in my family decided that they were going to use the injection. So they were a smaller person when they were younger, and then life circumstances happened and they gained weight. And part of their discomfort was because they had lived in a smaller body previously, and they really felt like the weight gain had been quite rapid and it made them feel really uncomfortable, and they felt like they had tried everything to lose weight, but nothing was working for them. Now, this person is a person that's quite close to me. So it wasn't a person that I felt would benefit from my coaching. Now, of course, I gave them my support and my kind of guidance and my, hey, this is what I'm seeing. But in terms of actually one-on-one coaching, it wasn't something that they felt was appropriate for them. And I didn't actually feel like it was appropriate either. You know the saying, like, never work with your family. It would have actually been hell on earth. So that wasn't a kind of avenue. So they explored a few avenues with a few other coaches. And then they decided that they were going to go down the route of the injection for a short period of time because they felt really exhausted, at their wits' end, like nothing was working for them. And we had a conversation, and I said, hey, like, you know, there's really big side effects to using this injection, and I can understand your frustration and I can understand your desire to change your experience, but there are side effects that you don't want to overlook. And also there's behavior patterns that you are exhibiting now that taking an injection to help you lose weight is not going to solve when you're no longer taking the injection. And they said, yep, I know that, I understand that, but I'm going to go through it anyway. And this is what I'm kind of seeing on a wider scale. Like, a lot of people ask me my opinion about the injection. And on one hand, there's no denying that this is life altering for some people. Like, some people are in a state that if they don't lose weight, their health is going to be impacted, and that is the thing that is going to cause them the most issues. So whether there are side effects or not, they are adding time and years to their life because of the medical advances that are available to them now. But here's what I said to my family member, and here is where I sit with it. The work is always the work, right? If I put it like this, if I have a raging temper and I take a tablet that means I don't lose my temper when I'm in certain situations again, if I do absolutely nothing about my temper other than take the tablet to ensure that I don't have a temper in certain situations, and then I stop taking the tablet, of course I'm going to have that temper again because nothing has actually changed. And I think 2 things really. I think that if you're going to engage in weight loss injections, just as there have been many other weight interventions over the years, diet, all different things, if you're going to engage in something like that, you have to be really honest with yourself about the things that got you to that situation to start with and the patterns that are not helping you. So if, for example, you know that you cannot manage and navigate your emotions without turning to a chocolate bar in the evening, or every single time you are stressed or overwhelmed, you're in a sharing bag of crisps, using something that suppresses your appetite is obviously going to help you lose weight. But when you stop using that thing, you're still going to be the type of person that cannot navigate their emotions and will find themselves in a sharing bag of crisps if they're overwhelmed. It's only going to work for the period of time that you're using it, and then it's no longer going to work. And so what I explained to this family member, and their thing was that they're turning to wine in the evening. So they are using alcohol as escapism, numbing, soothing, and ultimately to make them feel better in the evening. And I said to them, hey, that's not going to change. And they were saying, oh, but it has. I'm using the injection and it's really wonderful because I just don't want that glass of wine in the evening anymore. And we had a conversation. I said, that's temporary. That is temporary. No matter how you feel now, and you're, without being rude, being really naive, if you think that how you feel now is going to be how you feel forever, even when you're not taking the injection, because nothing has actually changed. Like, you've not got to the root cause of your stress and changed that. You've not actually put in any other stress alternatives outside of alcohol. You've really done very little but use the injection, which is suppressing the part of your brain that is lighting up and wanting to utilize these things. So it's making it a false sense of easiness at the moment that is not going to last once you stop taking the injection. And this is the same for many people. I think that everybody has to come to their own decision about whether or not they're comfortable with using it. I think it's actually really interesting. I think it's been so divisive, and I think that a point that we're all missing is our society is so fat phobic and values thinness so highly that it is no surprise that people will go to any lengths to achieve that. Now, of course, there's health implications, but we all know people who feel like they're just a bit overweight, who are utilising the injection because they want to be smaller. I know some people that are actually tiny to start with that are using it because they just want to be smaller. And that is because for all of us, diet culture has ingrained within us over these past few years that thinness is kind of like a model of success. It's a badge of honour. It's success. It means you're disciplined. It means so many things that in my opinion, it's almost like it's no wonder that we're in this scenario, and it's no wonder that people are going to all different lengths of extremes, as they have for many years, to achieve and live in a thinner body, when our society collectively places thinness so high. It just does everywhere we look. I don't know if people have seen, but there's an Instagram video going about of Kim Marsh and her manager telling her that she's fat, she needs to lose weight, that people basically aren't going to want to look at her, the size of her body. And her body is in no way, shape or form at that point of time that they was having the conversation overweight. So that just tells all of us that whatever size we aren't good enough if we're even close to looking like she looked. And the messaging, it is so deep, and it's so not surprising then to me that we are where we are societally. So what I'm seeing generally is that the people that are doing the work and the people that are actually understanding that this is kind of like a temporary safe haven, let's say, and it's not without side effects, and potentially it won't be about long-term implications, but I'm just talking about the kind of more shorter time period. The people that are understanding that if they couldn't emotionally regulate before, then they need to learn to emotionally regulate in order to have this be long-term sustainable for them. The people that turn to alcohol in the evening, if they now aren't turning to alcohol, that doesn't mean that they're not going to when they're no longer using it. They're going to have to be able to learn the tools, understand the patterns, build a better relationship with food, in order that the injection was something that helped them lose the body fat that they needed to lose, and almost gave them like a breathing space to be able to learn the tools with lower food noise, so that then they can have long-term sustainable fat loss over their lifetime. But either way, the work is the work. And so if you are wondering, should I use it? Should I not use it? If you're somebody that thinks I'm against using it, I really don't want to use it. What I want to say is the things that need to be learnt regardless. They really do. There's no shortcut to those. There's no escaping those. There's no sidestep. There's no going over. There's no going round. You are going to have to learn them if you want to live inside a body that you can maintain weight at. And that is what I said to my family member, and that is what I would say to any single person that I've had a conversation with about using the weight loss injections. Because these aren't going anywhere. They're going to be around for a long period of time. They're probably going to get more advanced, but the work is always going to be the work if you want it to be long lasting. And then the second thing I wanted to speak about today, and this was a question that I had from one of my clients, and she said, how on earth is it that we can constantly be breaking our promises to ourselves, but it would be inconceivable to break a promise to like a family member or a friend? And it really got me thinking about a period of time in my life where I remember I was sick to the back teeth of myself breaking promises to myself. I would tell myself that I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z, and then I would just do it. And it was almost like I was having an out-of-body experience, watching myself do the thing that I just promised myself I wasn't going to do, with my hands on my head, absolutely astounded that I could just literally say something to myself, then go against it. And it was so frustrating. And I got so sick of myself. And then I got to the place where I didn't trust myself, because I thought, well, you're going to say that you're going to do this, but we both know that you're not going to do this. And the way back from that, and the root of it, in all honesty, and when I went to therapy, I was really able to see this, is a lack of self-respect. And that really stung when I heard that. But I realised I am valuing other people, and my word is my word if I say it to someone else, but my word meant nothing if I said it to myself. And it was really because I wasn't respecting myself. I wasn't valuing myself. I wasn't respecting myself. And so if I said something to myself, it was almost just like, I've said that, but I know that I'll do this anyway. And so that was the way I spoke to myself, and everything followed suit. And when a therapist said to me once, let's call it what it is self-abandonment. It is self-abandonment. You are abandoning yourself repeatedly. You are holding a standard for yourself, but you are never meeting it because you're not respecting yourself and you're abandoning yourself. And it really stung. And I was like, ooh. And then that was when I came to realise everything starts from our relationship with ourselves. Because if we respect ourselves, if we want to be a person who operates in integrity, then that includes me too. And it starts with me. So if there's no good, my word being my word to everyone else, but not to me, I need to start with, I honour my word. I respect myself enough that if I say I'm going to do something, I care, I love, I respect myself enough to make sure that I follow through. And that might not always mean doing the thing that I want to do in that moment. And I can put this in terms of dieting, right? I might decide in the moment that I really want that piece of chocolate cake. I really, really want it. But I've already decided that respect for me long term looks like me losing some weight, developing a better relationship with food. And actually this cake right now here does not fit into that. Maybe it's something that and I'm not talking about severe restriction and going the other way, but I'm talking about just a craving that we have. And I really want it, but that is a temporary emotion. And there's been many times that I have really, really wanted to do something, and I've had to sit with it, and I've had to dig deep, and I had to say, you said you weren't going to do this. And so you're not. You're not going to do it. And this emotion that you're feeling, and this ickiness, and this really frustrated annoyance that you're experiencing right now because you're not going to allow yourself to do the thing, on the other side of that is pride, that you acted in alignment with what you want for yourself, that you have started to move and become a woman who says something and means it, who respects herself, who honours her own word. And the sense of self that I achieved from that, and the sense of pride, and the sense of, you know what, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do have to be serious with myself, was so, and has become so worth it, that now when I say something, and I'm definitely not perfect, so I'm not saying that this is all the time, but when I say something, I'm going to do X, it honestly makes my body shudder and cringe if I don't follow through on that. And it immediately comes up in my mind, what type of woman are you? Are you the type of woman that self-abandons, doesn't respect herself, and doesn't follow through? Or are you the type of woman who does do that and isn't led by her temporary emotions? Because we're always going to have temporary emotions. There's always going to be things that we feel like doing, but we cannot be swayed daily just by, oh, I feel like doing this, I feel like doing that, oh, I had that because I really wanted it, oh, I did that because I really wanted to. If we know deep down, this is me sabotaging myself, this is me self-abandoning, this is me making sure that I do not get to where I want to get to. I don't want to live a life like that, and I don't want to walk around in the world as a woman like that. If we can root in to the first respectful relationship that I need to have is the one with myself, and then that will pour outwards. Honestly, that is one of the most game-changing things that I think we can do to heal our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with our body, and our relationship with food, because it bleeds into everything. And then the final thing that I want to speak to you about this week is superfoods. And someone asked me this week and said, they actually said, I think they said maybe I wouldn't like that name, or I can't remember how they phrased it, but effectively superfoods, they're not really superfoods, let's just say that. They are foods with a lot of nutrients. So there are foods with a lot of vitamins and minerals. So things like blueberries, things like avocados are badged as superfoods, but it's really just because they have a lot of vitamins, they have a lot of minerals, and so they are packed with nutrients ultimately. But what I want to say is there's no such thing of a superfood as in it's going to supercharge and do anything. They're just foods with lots of vitamins and minerals. But if you make your diet, your food choices overall, packed with lots of vitamins and minerals, then that is the best place that you can be. The best thing that we can do is stop looking at food as in isolated food choices. Oh, like this is a brilliant food and that's a brilliant food, because there isn't a brilliant food on the planet in isolation. But there is a brilliant way of eating and a brilliant diet, and that is one that's packed with nutrients and also allows you joy and freedom and all the things that you would want for yourself with your relationship with food. So social media often bans things. I think almonds have been banded as like a superfood, but really all they are is foods with a lot of vitamins and minerals. And the thing that I would love for you all to kind of sit with is, what does a kind of supercharged diet look like for me? And when I say diet, I don't mean in terms of calorie deficit. I mean, we all have a diet. Our diet is what we eat. So what does a supercharged diet look like for you? Like, what does it look like for you to have loads of vitamins and minerals and a really nourishing week filled with nutrients? What does that look like for you? So instead of externalizing and looking and thinking, oh, that's meant to be a superfood and that's meant to be a superfood, what do your superfoods look like? What do the foods that make you feel good look like? What does a diet look like for you that's packed with vitamins and minerals, and one that doesn't just last a few days or a week, but these are foods that you can incorporate over a long period of time so that your health actually improves? Because that is the real key power move. That's the real thing that we're trying to achieve when we're going after these so-called superfoods. We want to be in a position where we are nourishing our body with such a lot of vitamins and minerals, but we want to do that in a way that A, we like the foods, B, we understand that no food in isolation is going to do that, it's going to be a combination, and C, we want to be able to do it for a long enough period of time that it's actually beneficial and worthwhile. If I eat a so-called superfood for a week and then I never eat it again, that's not really going to be beneficial. Whereas if I look at my food choices and my diet as, right, how can I really have and embrace this concept of packing as many nutrients, as many vitamins, as many minerals in my day, in my week, in my month, in my year as I can, then I'm going to live in a healthy body. I'm going to live in a healthy body, and I'm going to be giving myself the best chance of living a long, healthy life. So that's what I want to leave you with. Really internalizing, what does it look like for you to have a supercharged quote unquote diet, rather than what superfood is it that I should be including this week. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will catch up with you next week.